This brought my grand total to just shy of 3,000 miles over 7 days. Starting at Triumph's U.S. headquarters in Atlanta, I rode the new Street Twin down to Austin, Texas. After a weekend full of music, motive, and the 3rd annual hand-built show, it was time to mosey on. I had to get the bike back to Philadelphia in time to keep with our schedule of shooting the video portion of this month's review. This meant burning highway miles at a breakneck pace. With the miles came plenty of adventure and experience to pull from as we break down Triumph's new Bonneville Street Twin. The bike, so is it a Bonneville? Or a Street Twin? Or a Bonneville Street Twin? Triumph seems to have a lot of different names for these new bikes. It appears that Bonneville will now be the overall family name, with different models sitting underneath the moniker, much like they used to refer to the entire family as modern classics. What's that you say? They still refer to the entire family as modern classics? Well, that could be a bit confusing. Regardless of what you call it, the Street Twin replaces the base Bonneville and is sporting the smallest engine in the new family of classically inspired motorcycles. Since its introduction in 2004, the 865cc, air/oil-cooled parallel twin had become a mainstay in Triumph's lineup. The smaller 790cc engine hung around for a while, but by 2009, the 865cc plant was powering 6 models, nearly half the bikes in Triumph's catalog. To say that Triumph was taking a risk by altering this recipe for success is a bit of an understatement. After my time with this bike, I would say the gamble has paid off. The Street Twin's new engine is a 900cc HT high-torque parallel twin. Unlike the old 865cc, the new engine features liquid cooling, a single overhead cam, dual counterbalance shafts, and a very uncharacteristic, for a Triumph Twin, 270-degree crank. So, more horsepower, right? Not exactly. Peak horsepower is down from 68 to 55 claimed ponies. However, up until just about 6,000 RPM, the new engine outperforms the old version. The torque curve has been completely revised. On the old engine, the torque curve could have better been described as a straight line delivering around 50 foot-pounds of torque from 3,500 RPM to almost 7,500 RPM, before falling off to the red line at 8,000 RPM. The new 900cc mill stomps out 59 foot-pounds almost immediately at 3,200 RPM before dropping off steadily to the 7,000 RPM red line. What you get is an engine that feels bigger than it is. You get gobs of low-end and mid-range power, at the expense of top-end peak performance. I imagine the majority of riders looking at this bike will appreciate where Triumph has placed the power. It's ideally located for real-world riding. It also sips fuel. And that's a good thing, considering the capacity of the gas tank was reduced to 3.2 gallons. I was averaging around 58 miles per gallon down to Austin and back. Keep in mind that I weighed 205 pounds and was rocking about 45 to 50 pounds of gear. Not too shabby. In an early press release, it looked like the Street Twin was going to be getting a 6-speed gearbox, much like its larger siblings, the T120 and the Thruxton. Instead, it maintains a 5-speed, but overall gearing has been revised and it feels more comfortable chasing highway speeds. I rode it across Texas at an indicated 70 miles per hour or more for hours on end and it felt just fine. I would have killed for a windscreen, though. In reality, this bike is more comfortable strolling down country highways and stopping in small towns to strut around like a peacock with full plumage extended. It begs attention. The lines of the new Street Twin attract as many, if not more, onlookers as the old Bonnie. The new tire sizes offer up increased vintage appeal. An 18-inch wheel up front replaces the old 17-inch rim on the Bonneville and looks more at home with the rest of the retro styling. The chassis has been redesigned to accommodate these changes, and while the Street Twin retains the neutral steering feel the Bonneville was known for, it also retains its sub-par suspension. while it receives about an additional 0.75 inches of travel in the rear. This is the first thing I would look to replace. The braking system gets updated to include ABS, an addition many riders have been asking about for years. The addition of ABS means you can grab a big ol' handful of that brake lever without worrying about disrupting the chassis. While the Street Twin doesn't get the bump to a dual-disc setup, like the T120 and Thruxton, the single 310mm rotor and two-piston Nissan caliper up front work nicely with the 255mm rotor and Nissan pairing at the rear wheel to provide solid stopping power. It's the right tool for the job of stopping a 55 horsepower motorcycle. Traction control is also new for 2016 and works to monitor wheel slip over less than ideal conditions. While traction control can be disabled, ABS cannot. Throttle response is spot on. Compared to the new Thruxton R I got to ride, the Street Twin's throttle-by-wire system delivered a smooth transition both on and off the gas. While there are no throttle modes like on the Thruxton and T120, there is no abrupt on/off feel, either. The overall ergonomics offer a sporty seating position. When I used to modify Bonnevilles for friends, the first change I would make would be to swap out the bars for a set of dirt bars. With the new Street Twin, it seems Triumph has beat me to the punch with a nice set of Lowe's lung bars placing you in a lower tuck than the previous generation. At 6 feet, 3 inches, I felt a bit cramped on the new 29.5-inch seat height. While I would have liked a bit more height for my rear end, new and shorter riders will be sure to appreciate the quick and confident reach to the ground.